G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the show. If this is your first time here, I'm Chef Blake, and today I'm going to be cooking a dessert and showing you guys a few key techniques that you can apply across a range of dishes. And you might be asking yourself, but Blake, why do you have a bowl of oranges in front of you? And to that I say to you,
these are no oranges.
It's a space station.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today's key ingredient that I'll be using is a tangelo. A tangelo is a citrus fruit that's a cross between a tangerine and a grapefruit. And I'm going to be using that to create a terrific tangelo tart. And without further ado, let's just get into the prep. You're going to need some plain flour, some caster sugar. I've got 4 eggs here that I've separated. It's very important that you keep the egg whites because we're going to need those later. So I'm going to pop them in the fridge. And you're also going to need some chilled butter cut into small cubes like this. The process is very simple. I'm going to use a food processor. However, if you don't have one of those, I'll talk you through that as well. First things first, I'm going to take our plain flour and straight into the food processor. Caster sugar, straight in as well. Put all of that cubed butter in. I'm just going to blend this together until it comes almost like breadcrumbs. If you don't have a food processor, what you can do is get a large bowl, combine the butter and the flour using your fingers like that, but I'm lazy so I'm going to do it this way. Pulse this just until it comes together. You do not want to overmix. What's going to happen is the butter's going to combine with the flour in small pockets. That's what's going to make our tart base really short and really nice. This process can take quite a while if you're doing it by hand, so if you do have a food processor, it's really going to speed it up. As you can see, we now have our nice mixture. As I was saying before, kind of looks like breadcrumbs. Create a bit of a well, add your egg yolks. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of chilled water. Keep going with this. As you can see, the dough is starting to come together. Now that it's not so fine and floury, I'm going to put it on the bench and I'm just going to bring it together. Now that we've got it onto the bench, bring it all together. This isn't pasta, so you don't need to knead it or anything like that. We just want to bring it all together. So before we go any further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down into 2 pieces, just like that. Cling wrap it, and that needs to go in the fridge to get nice and cold before we're going to be able to roll it out. Alright, now just place your pan on top. Grab a knife, and I'm just going to cut around. Alright, now that you've done that, you can remove the outer bits. 1/2 centimetre thickness, and I'm just going to drop it into our tin. So now that we've got our base done, we're going to need to make a nice thin strip for the rest of it. Grab your other piece. Get your 2 pieces and just want to put them together like this, and then just going to press them together. Put it into our mold. Be careful because it will crack and we don't want that. Realize that you haven't actually made it long enough, and just go back and repeat the part that you did before and make another small piece. Gonna get my little extra piece and flop it in preheated at 160 degrees Celsius. Alright guys, so now that the tart shell is out from the oven and completely cooled down, it's time to make the Tangelo curd. Your tart shell needs to be out from the oven and totally cooled down before you proceed with this part. To get started, as you can see behind me, I've got a pot on, which I'm just bringing up to the boil with some water. I've got it filled up about 1/3 of the way, and I'm going to be using that to create a double boiler to cook our Tangelo curd. The ingredients for this one, much like our tart shell, are quite simple. You've got a whole bunch of eggs, some sugar, some more diced butter, and we all know that butter makes everything better. I've got a couple of gelatin sheets here, some vanilla paste, and you can use fresh vanilla or vanilla extract if it pleases you. Extract the zest. So now all I need to do is juice these bad boys. I forgot to mention before, you will need a heat-safe bowl for this. I'm using a Pyrex glass bowl. You can also use a stainless steel bowl as well, that will be perfectly fine. So once we've added our eggs, our Tangelo juice and our zest to the bowl, just gonna go in with the sugar. Just give it a little bit of a whisk. Jesus. I'm gonna say about a tablespoon of the vanilla bean extract. I'm just going to add some water to our gelatin sheets, and they'll just need to soak in there for about 5 minutes. So just some cold water from the tap. All right, let's head over to the stove. What we're doing is we're using the gentle heat from the water to slowly bring the eggs up to their setting temperature, which is around 65 to 70 degrees.
One eternity later.
The worst thing you can do with this is get impatient with it. So see how it's coating the spoon? It's not just all dripping off straight away. You could probably actually chuck this in an ice cream churner and it'd make a very yummy ice cream. We've got our gelatin, so just go in with another one. Whisk it in. Just got that on a low heat. For the gelatin to thicken up, it needs to reach a certain temperature. I think it's above about 90 degrees. So before I introduce that to the tart shell, I'm just going to let it cool down to about 25 to 30 degrees. Alright guys, so coming up to the end of the cook, we've just got one last thing to do. So I've got the egg whites that we've saved from before. I'm just going to put them into a stand mixer. Just about a teaspoon of lemon juice. That's just going to give it some stability. So once your egg whites have reached soft peaks, I've just got some sugar syrup here that I've brought to softball stage, which is 115 degrees Celsius. And I'm just going to pour that in just a little bit at a time. And then straight back to the whipping. So guys, once you've added your sugar syrup, you can continue to whip it. The heat from the sugar syrup is going to give the meringue its stability. It's not going to split out if you continue to whip it and whip it and whip it. All right guys, so once the meringue has gone very stiff, just gonna pop it into a piping bag. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah!
So last but not least, before I start decorating the tart, I'm just gonna take one of those last Tangelos and I'm going to create some segments. So to do that, we just cut the top and the bottom off. And we're just gonna cut all of that skin off. To cut segments out of a citrus fruit, what you need to do is, you can see that there's lines. So what we want to do is we want to cut in between the lines, and that's going to make a nice little wedge. All right, so now that we've got our meringue made and our Tangelo segments cut, it's time to decorate. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a terrific, tantalizing, tasty Tangelo tart. So just to recap some of the techniques demonstrated in this video, you've got making a short crust pastry, making a citrus curd, and also turning that curd into a stable pie filling, and you've also got making an Italian meringue. Now, before we finish up, I noticed that 78% of you beautiful people out there have not yet subscribed to the channel. I would like to invite you to smash that subscribe button and the notifications bell. I come out with a new video almost every week for you guys to enjoy, where I demonstrate cooking techniques and create dishes before your very eyes. If you would like to see more content, follow me on Instagram. If you'd like to recreate this dish, I will be posting the recipe in the video link description, along with the full method, and also a lot of really helpful tips in there that will help you guys make this dish like an absolute pro. Thank you very much for watching today's episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Tantalizing